Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you for clicking on this video. This is Seth Kills, otherwise known as Nick. And today we're going to be talking about Rings of Power, Episode 3. Just came out like 12 a.m. last night here in East Coast time. And it's going to be a spoiler review, so just give you a fair warning. Initial thoughts on it, still kind of slow, but we'll kind of go through it. It starts off with Galadriel, and she's on the boat because she was stranded in the ocean last episode. And she gets saved while she was with Hallbrand, who saved her initially. And, well, not really saved her, I guess, but he was stranded and he just helped her get on that boat or raft or piece of 5 pieces of wood that they were on and somehow floated. But they get saved by this captain of a new city called Numenor, and it's kind of like the Navy. And it's their armor is pretty laughable. It's like this weird tan banana color, and it doesn't even look like it would protect them from anything. It looks like plastic leather, like leather. So I don't know where the money's going, but apparently it's not in wardrobe. So this, they save him and they take him to the city, and the Hallbrand character is kind of amazed. When they get to the city, he kind of sees opportunity, and he's trying to beg Galadriel to kind of be more political. Maybe put a smile on her face. Which, hey, we get a smile from her this episode, so I guess we gotta take our wins when we get it. But it's a little bit freaky when it comes, because you see this character Galadriel not smiling for like almost 3 hours, and then suddenly smiles out of nowhere just because of riding a horse. But hey, this is where we are. So they're in the city Numenor, and that captain dude takes them over to the Queen Regent, and she talks to the Queen Regent. They have this weird conversation where Galadriel is kind of like testing the power of the Queen and basically kind of threatens her, which is dumb because there's a lot more of them than her. And Hallbrand's trying to basically diffuse the situation and also kind of get in the good graces of the Queen because he sees opportunity there. But anyway, so this scene ends, and the Queen Regent summons that captain guy and basically tells him to watch over Galadriel. And Hallbrand kind of goes off on his own, looking over the city, walking around. He goes to a blacksmith and tries to get a job. And then the blacksmith tells him that he can't hire anybody as a blacksmith if he doesn't have like the token of the city that they wear over their slash. It's kind of like a circle coin. I forgot what they called it. So he goes drinking and almost gets in a fight. Well, not almost gets in a fight, but 3 guys goes up to him and basically kind of tries to start shit with him. And he basically buys them a drink and suddenly kind of becomes friends. And the scene just kind of ends after they agree to a drink. And suddenly they're drunk and they're like friends already. And he says he has to go. He wishes them all adieu. And 3 of those guys follow him in an alley. And I guess this is kind of a decent fight scene because you kind of don't expect it, I guess, from Hallbrand. Well, at least I don't, because I don't really know the lore. But he shows some talent that he's fought before. He's maybe some type of soldier, and I mean, he was pretty aggressive, so he was kind of ruthless, which makes me think maybe he's done some bad things in the past. Maybe he doesn't remember, I don't know. But he basically diffuses all of them, kicks all their asses. And then we get to Galadriel again, and Galadriel and the captain dude. This is where the scene where you get her smile, her only smile in this whole season so far. And they go to this like library, and they find this map, and it pinpoints where they need to go next, I think. But we cut back, and the the dude Hallbrand's in jail, and Galadriel, goes up to him and says, you have some talent. Obviously, you're not really telling me the truth. You've done something, and basically says that he's like a king. I don't know what he's the king for. I kind of got confused in that scene, but just because I thought he was just kind of like a drifter, but I forgot why exactly she knew he was royalty or thinking that he was royalty, but she tells him that, and we cut back to what's that elf's name? Arondir. Is it? Yeah, Arondir. Sorry, Arondir, and he's been captured since the last episode, and he's in this like slave camp with a bunch of other elves being run by orcs, and they're just making him dig this ditch. I don't know why. I don't think they really explained it, but they're obviously just making him work for some type of war effort, I think. And there's this tree in the way, and you know, in this one scene, they give the elves water because they're trying to stop an uprising or what they think might be an uprising, and they give a drink to the first guy, and then they give a drink to Arondir, sorry, and then they cut the throat of the other elf that was with him, and it was just kind of a weird scene. Like the dialogue in this show so far has just not been on point. I mean, it's almost laughable. Like for instance, like the Navy guys, they say the sea is always right, and they kind of say this kind of like a chant or a prayer. And when the captain was talking to the Queen Regent, when she asked him to watch over Galadriel, he told her, and it was really weird because like this scene, when they were chanting "the sea is always right, the sea is always right," the very next scene is like you know the captain dude talking to the Queen Regent. And it was like their attempt to forecast this saying, because the captain dude told the Queen Regent, "The sea is always right, and this is the reason why, you know, the sea put her in my way, and the sea is always right," is exactly what he said. And I don't know, it's just really weird dialogue. And then when we get to the Harfoots, and I'm sorry if I'm going jumping places to places. I always try to do my best to kind of go chronological order, but when you get talking, you start remembering, oh, I skipped this and I skipped that. But about 30 minutes into the episode, we get our Harfoots, and how they enter into the episode is they're chanting like the seven dwarves with Snow White, and they're saying nobody goes off trail and nobody walks alone. Nobody goes off trail and nobody walks alone, and they're just like chanting that all the way back to the village. But the Harfoots, to talk about them where they're at in this episode is Nori, I think her name is. She's still trying to help that wizard dude, and her father and mother don't want to help, obviously. And they discover the wizard dude because he trips on some tent, and they basically have this kind of proceeding, and they determine that she did it innocently, that she's not supposed to expose herself obviously to the outside world, and having a stranger in the midst and not telling anybody about it, I guess, was a punishable offense. But instead of basically tell them to leave the community, they tell them that when they migrate over to wherever they're migrating to, they have to stay all the way back, which is a weird. There's so many like subliminal messaging in this episode that I'm not gonna get into, but Anyway, so they get all the way the back of the line, and they get stuck, and the wizard helps them out, and um, Nori, basically shows her family that he's not dangerous and that he's just a person that needs help, right? But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Galadriel, I think her last scene was talking in the prison with Halbrand and telling him, that he's a king. I forgot where he was a king of, or if he's a king of Numenor, or if he was, some other city. But you know, I don't, I don't want to watch it again. I'll tell you that. I mean, it's just really slow. You know, Galadriel is still not likable. Like when she was talking to that Queen Regent, she was this for no reason really. Like if you're asking or needing help from another civilization and you're not part of that civilization, or even strangers for that matter, you would think you would act a little bit more, nicer. Not so much kissing the person's ass, but like at least acting friendly, not going to the point where you're threatening to help them, to help me. I'm gonna kick everyone's ass in here if you guys don't help me. I don't think that's gonna work too well. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is the third episode. One more episode, we're halfway through, and Galadriel is still not likable. Um, Elrond wasn't even in this episode. We didn't get to see any dwarves this episode. I think the one thing that made this episode kind of entertaining is when Arendir escaped. Well, not escape. Well, basically he had an escape attempt in his last scene, and basically all the elves that he was with died, and they were fighting. I mean, it was kind of a cool fight scene because they were using like chains and stuff, and kind of doing like martial arts with the chains. I kind of like that. And he had Arendir had this one scene where he took down the tent because the sun hurts the orcs. So, pretty much all the elves die. They capture him, and then you see a figure at the end coming towards them, or coming towards him after he's been captured by the orcs and all the other elves died. There's like another elf maybe, because it was like very blurry. It didn't really show the face, but it didn't look like an orc. It looked like either an elf or a human. So I guess that's going to be the mystery for the next episode. But yeah, so I think we hit all the characters and what happened with them. Sorry, I kind of jumped around there, but did my best to kind of do it in order. But like I said, I mean, with this season so far, it's been very hard to keep my attention. Like it hasn't really drawn me in. Like I have to really focus hard to pay attention because it's kind of boring. It's still boring. Like nothing really is happening yet. Like this, it's really dragging out. Like it's worse than, and I and the Snyder cut was okay, but it is very dragged out. I could see why a lot of that was cut out of the original DC Justice League. Not saying that the original Justice League was good or anything, but a lot of that needed to be cut. Especially that Flash scene. Jesus, with the hot dog passing over the girl's face. I mean, jeez. But anyways, guys, yeah, it's still really slow. It's not really picking up any type of pace. They're not making Galadriel any likable or any more likable. Um, I mean, the captain dude, which I forget what his name is. He has a daughter and a son, and the daughter just got accepted to some type of school that he initially earlier in the scene told her that she wasn't gonna get accepted, and then like literally 5 seconds later, she receives a letter saying that she got accepted. So I don't know. This is like a lot of weird scenes or pointless scenes that really were dragged out and didn't really need to be there. But I don't know where they're going. I guess I'm kind of interested to see what's going to happen with the wizard. Kind of interested to see what's going to happen to Nori. Even though she kind of was a little bit more annoying this episode. I mean, she's the one likable character just because she has a good heart. Like she has emotions. You could actually, I mean, she's the actor who's playing her is a lot better of an emotional actor than Galadriel. So I do get some enjoyment seeing what she's gonna do with the wizard, or who even the wizard is. And then also now this new character, Hallbrand. Kind of interested to see who he is, but it's just very slow, And if Galadriel is going to be the main, protagonist in this series, they got to make her more likable. And a lot of this episode was a little bit too on the nose with certain things, um, especially the slave scene. But and then the hobbits having to go all the way on the back of the line, for helping somebody. Is this? I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of underlining messaging in this episode that was prioritized over the story. So it's still very slow. I think to give more of a better idea of what my thoughts are, I'll just rate it. And I'll start doing that from now on. I haven't been doing that in my previous videos, but I'll just kind of give it, I guess, a 1 out of 10 rating. But I would say this episode maybe a 4, maybe 3 or 4. And the only reason why it's even that high is because the fighting scene with Arendir, I kind of enjoyed, But besides that, I don't know. We're already halfway through, and it's still very, very slow and more or less very boring. And I mean, you got some likable characters, I could admit, but they don't get enough screen time, really. Well, maybe the new captain dude will get some screen time, but we'll see. But anyways, guys, that's my initial thoughts. If you guys did like the video, please hit that like and subscribe button. And again, I'm sorry that it was kind of, not in order, and I kind of jumped different scenes, but I think I pretty much hit everything. But anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one.